Good evening, good evening, good evening, social media land. How are you out there tonight? Welcome to Let's Talk Brief. I am your host, Lakeisha Lockridge, and this is the City of Hearts where we deep dive into real conversations. We explore raw emotions and we have honest discussions. So brace yourselves because it gets real when we discuss the journeys of love, loss, coping, and resilience. So tonight we have with us a special guest by the name of Shayna Gordon. She has a remarkable journey for adversity to empowerment. She is a testament of true resilience of the human spirit, confronting the harsh realities of domestic violence and grappling with multiple health conditions. She refused to be defined by her challenges. Instead, Shayna embarked on a transformative path of self discovery, inspiring others along the way. In her multifaceted role, Shayna wears many hats, from a poet to motivational speaker to a podcast host and a self love coach. Her advocacy extends to raising awareness about domestic violence and chronic illnesses, amplifying the voice of those who often go unheard. As an author, Shayna has invited readers to embrace their imperfections and find beauty in their struggles and offer pathways to liberation and self acceptance. She's originally from Cross, South Carolina. Shayna now calls Troy, New York, her home. When she's not advocating or writing, she treasures moments with her two beautiful daughters and finds solace in nature and explores new culinary delights and savors the joys of travel. So without further ado, I want to bring my girl, my sis, Shayna Gordon to the stage.
Hello, 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 everyone.
Hey Shayna, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I can't complain.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know I read your bio. Um, you doing big things out here, and I'm so proud of you. But I do like to take a moment for you to just tell the people who you are in your words.
Well, as always, I tell people, hi, I am Sheena Goodine, better known as the lady behind the mask. I am the empower and the inspirator. I'm here to dedicate myself, which is better known as dope, dedicated to other people empowerment. I'm here to
Yeah.
advocate, I'm here to inspire, and I'm here to educate. Help you to be to your full potential and take that mask off and let's get comfortable.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Shayna, can you start by sharing about your journey from facing domestic violence and health challenges to becoming an empowerment and advocate and inspirational author?
Absolutely. So about 5 years ago, well, let's go back. 10 years ago, I was a survivor. And after coming out of going through domestic violence, not once, but twice, the second relationship, it was like to where is I was dragged upstairs, I was choked in my sleep,
Mhm.
and the fact is that my life was on the line and I got two daughters watching me. Something had to change, like something had to be different. Those were not the situations I needed to be in and definitely didn't need to be in it for my kids. Like I needed better for them and better for myself. So
Absolutely.
after going through that traumatic trauma and ordeal, I got out of the relationship. But even getting out of the relationship, getting a protection order, I still got stalked for a year. So I still was dealing with the trauma even after getting out of it. So eventually I went to a program and I basically took the steps to heal myself onto a better journey of a better version of me. As I was going through my stages of going of healing, I was writing my poetry to basically help me heal through my own therapy. As I was going to therapy, I was going to art class, I was doing different things to mind shift my mind after going through the trauma. And that's what lead me into becoming an author 5 years ago and actually turning my life into my purpose of taking my scars and making them a beautiful butterfly. Hashtag turning my pain into a purpose.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love the resiliency in it. I love how you looked at your children and knew that regardless of how your heart felt, you had to make a change. You know, we have to be those generational curses. Me being a survivor of domestic violence myself, I can totally relate to that. My daughter was a pivoting point in my life. Like it was either kill or be killed, you
Right.
know, and I didn't want to lose my daughter. Um, I didn't want to lose my life, you know. I didn't want to lose my life in death, and I didn't want to lose my life going to prison for an act that could have sent me there. So I can completely relate to that, and my head is off to you because you look like what you've been through, girl, and I love
Listen,
it.
listen, listen. No, I don't. And a lot of people, I tell them that too. Like, I if I look like what I've been through, I would still be stagnant, still be depressed, still dealing with anxiety and PTSDs, having, panic attacks and all the et cetera. So to be able to now
Absolutely.
you see me and I don't look like that, listen, grace and mercy.
Yes, absolutely. So just bear with me because I'm typing with one finger tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The world don't know, but it's okay because you got this is a moment of a teachable moment. You
Hmm.
push through. You just push through with whatever you got going on. You push through, and I'm pushing through tonight. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go on to the next question. I do have a series of questions based on what I know from you, based on your just you, you know, and I want the world to know you inside and out because you are
Absolutely.
an amazing story. The lady behind the mask, I love it because it does reflect you as a person. So I love it. Dealing with domestic violence, how did you find the strength to confront and eventually rise above the domestic violence experience? Let me break it down to what was the moment that you knew, regardless of what you had to go through, because I know for me, getting out of that situation, I had to leave everything behind,
Right.
you know. So what got you to that pivoting moment where you everything nothing mattered other than you and your children getting out of there?
Well, my pivotal moment was, you laying in the bed and somebody tell you that they're gonna slit your throat. That means either you're gonna fight or flight. And it's like, listen, I need to survive for my kids and my kids need to survive. So for somebody to literally tell you that they want to slit your throat, that it's, why play games with your life?
Absolutely.
So it's like, listen, is either be killed or stay. And my life was more important than that. And I thought about, well, if I stay, then if I die, then my kids won't have a mother, or my mom won't have a daughter, or my sister won't have her sister anymore. So it's like I have to do something different. And at this point, I had just had surgery on my hand with being the conditions I had. So in the midst of dealing with the diagnosis of conditions and dealing with this is like enough is enough and I deserve better. I deserve more. And it's like
Yeah.
it's time to go.
And with so many women who still suffer in silence. And not just women, it's some men also who
Right.
suffer with domestic violence and they suffer in silence. And some miss the mark when it is time to, execute your plan and get out. And unfortunately, we see it all too often where some don't make it out.
Right.
So it's just, it's a breath of fresh air for me. I'm just going to call it what it is when I speak with women or men who did make it out, you know.
Absolutely.
So you spoke about your health challenges. And I know that you face some chronic illnesses. So
I
with
do.
your health challenges, you've dealt with multiple conditions. How has these challenges shaped your perspective on life and empowerment?
Listen. And I say listen because I don't look like the six different conditions that were diagnosed to me, because I won't say that what I had that was
Mhm.
diagnosed and said to the doctor that I had. I don't
Yes.
look like my story, because if you look at me, I don't look like anything's wrong with me. You know, when you see
Yes.
me moving and shaking, I don't look like anything's going on. But it shaped my life. So whereas I've learned to empower people that regardless of the cards they were dealt, whatever you may have gotten diagnosed with, or the doctor may say that's not the final word to a lot of things. Like, I've been in the hospital more than once for, different things. I've had to get reconstructive surgery on my left hand because the bone on my thumb was literally just bone on bone. So where they took a ligament out of my arm and reconstructed my finger, and I had to learn how to use my whole left hand again. So it structured me to whereas that you keep fighting. You don't let the disease run your life. You are the one that is in control, and you allow yourself to know that you can do anything that you want to do. You can be a force to be reckoned with, but you got to learn how to stand firm and be empowered through your condition,
Yes.
and don't let your condition make you suffer in silence. Because
Absolutely.
when I first was diagnosed with half of the things I was, at one point I was in the bed. You get depressed, you get
Mhm.
angry, you ask the questions why. But I learned how to stop asking why and ask what am I supposed to do with that? So what's next? Because
Yes.
I know that these things were put on me because I'm strong enough to carry it. So that's why it was given to me. Because how they say, he give it to his strongest warriors. So I guess he felt I was strong enough to carry this load because the vision is bigger than me. I'm here to be the voices for the people that don't know how to speak and advocate for themselves health wise. Because during this process of even going through healthcare, I had to learn to speak for me, because doctors will
Absolutely.
see you coming and they'll tell you, "Oh no, I don't see nothing wrong with you." Oh, or oh, maybe I don't know. But when you know in your mind, and and you strong for it, and you know something's wrong, you keep advocating for it and get second opinions. Never take the first one, because they could tell you nothing's wrong with you when there's a whole lot going on with you. And if you wait too late, then that could be the end of your life as well. So make sure you are a big advocate for what you know and what you feel, because my pain, you can't see it, but I feel it.
Oh yes, definitely. I went through that myself in 2016. October the 10th, 2016 started my journey. I remember that day so well because of the pain. The pain was excruciating. And I went to multiple doctors here in my hometown, and they could not tell me. They kept telling me the same thing, and it kept reoccurring and reoccurring. My now ex-husband said, no, we're going to another state. And he took me to another state. And we got there, they did the testing. They called me into the hospital to have surgery that Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Wow.
That's how chronic it was.
Mm.
And if he wouldn't made the decision to take me to another state, I may not be sitting here talking to you today. So
Right.
I get it. I really get it. But my head is off to you because I see you moving. I see you shaking out here, and you don't look like what you go through. I even know today is kind of challenging for you with the weather.
Yeah.
You
Right.
them bones, baby, them bones.
Them
We
bones, them bones.
them
You know,
bones,
when you deal with the arthritis and it's not visible to people,
Mhm.
and what's crazy is mine is a chronic illness. And just to let people know, I have fibromyalgia. I have
Mhm.
ankylosing spondylitis, which is arthritis in my spine that goes the rest of my joints like rheumatoid arthritis. I have
Mhm.
osteoarthritis. I have polycystic kidney disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and then I also have DVT, which is called a deep vein thrombosis, which I have blood clots, which I have two of them. One in my left, both are in my left leg. One is in my thigh, one is in my calf. So
Mhm.
I don't look like any of those things. But yeah, with the weather, it changes and the pain is not visual, but I feel it,
Yes,
you
and
know.
when people can't see your pain, they tend to try to water it down, um, and that's frustrating within itself, but we don't pay them no mind, we just keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, my next question yes. So, my next question for you is, let's talk about transformation and self-discovery. What were some pivotal moments on your path of self discovery and transformation? And how did you navigate through them? Because we know that when you made that pivotal moment to get out of the situation, you started over.
Right.
You know, a new Shayna was born, and that path of self discovery is a journey. I will tell anybody,
It's
healing,
still a journey.
discovery, it's a never ending journey.
Right.
It's each and every day that we wake up, we gonna learn something new about ourselves. We're gonna grow. We're gonna share some things. What I look like yesterday, I may not look like today. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty in transformation.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about some of your pivoting moments after coming out of that situation.
Well, after coming out of the situation, I really learned and started dating myself all over again. Like I literally learned what made me happy, not who made me happy, what made me happy, and not by meaning just my kids or what's physically here. Like scripting myself down, sitting in the mirror, learning myself and learning what made me happy to whereas I'm at the peace where I am now, learning what my boundaries are, learning what I'm not going to settle for, learning what I'm not going to tolerate, and learning like this is me, this is who I am. And if you don't love it, I love me, and that's what matters. And either you
Period.
can accept it or reject it, but this is who I am. You know, I've
Absolutely.
learned to walk in the shoes that was made for me, not what someone else wants to put on me. I'm not here to people please. I'm not here to be who you want me to be. I'm here of what the purpose is for me to be and who I'm supposed to be, and I'm gonna love me through it all.
Period. Period. That's all I can say with that because you spoke the truth. You spoke volumes. Period. So, the role of poetry, because the world doesn't know and they need to know, but the lady behind the mask is a poet. So, let's
Yes.
talk about this poetry and this writing
Listen.
because after going through what you went through and walking in your transformation and your journey, God started to birth some greatness throughout
Listen.
that.
He birthed a lot of greatness throughout that. Some
Yeah.
birth I didn't imagine having. But he had a whole nother design and decision that was going on. So, when doors are open, even when they were closed to others, it's sometimes we have to walk through them because that was the door that was meant for you. And it's crazy because I think a long time I might have been running from this purpose of my poetry and my words have power because I've been writing poetry since I've been 12. I've been
Mhm.
writing poetry since I've been in elementary school. And like I remember writing and being in contests and putting it in to be in these poetry contests and getting awards for them, and then I stopped. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, how you put the hat up and say, all right, I'm gonna move on. But
Mm.
after going through my trauma and I picked the pen back up again, and it's crazy because I wasn't even planning on making the poetry I wrote in a book. It wasn't a plan of, oh, I'm writing this and this is gonna be a book. It was like, I wrote it as I was going through therapy, and I shared my first poem that I wrote. It's called Worries of Many Strengths. And I shared
Mhm.
it to my counselor. And so the first question after I read it, she was like, so when is that going in a book? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What book? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just kind of like shrugging it off. And then I read it
Uh-huh.
to my father. And then my dad was like, oh, so when the book coming? I said, what book? What are you talking about? And then, so I read it again to somebody and they was like, okay, so you writing a book this year? And I said, all right, I get it. And see, I'm a one that when things come in threes, I'm very, somatic with that. When I'm hearing it
Mhm.
three times, because it's just like with me, death come in threes. So three is like the number for me. And it's like when I heard it, I was like, all right, I hear you. I got it. You sending it in another direction. I hear you. And that year when I decided to do it, my great grandma passed away. So I went back home to go, I was in my room because she had passed away in my room and I happened to look under my bed. And when I pulled out the binder, it was my old book with all my poems in it. Mind you, in the front of it, it had a title, it had my name, and it says, I'm going to be an author one day. And I said, you know what, full circle. So when
Yes.
I say it was like I was running from a purpose that already was a purpose for me, I just had to get aligned with it, and it was all in timing. So when
Yeah.
I put this first book together called The Mask Behind the Mask, I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna put it out. It's for the kids. Why, my
Mm.
daughters to get to see my transformation. I went from dealing with this to putting it in words to say, all right, she's putting it out, for purpose. But it also was a bigger vision than I'd imagined, because by the time I put it out, I was on 3 news stations and the front of the newspaper 3 months after it happened. So when I say it was a bigger vision, and like now I'm 6 books in after 5 years, been in 48 projects, it's like, hey,
Come
I
on
might,
through, books.
it's like, hey, and with the poetry, I've did my album. So I have two, spoken word tracks that are out as well. And I just released one.
Yes.
So, like it's been a journey, and I love to write poetry because words have power, and it gives it so much voice and powerness to let people know that this is what you feel, and it's okay to feel that way.
Yes. I actually heard one of your spoken tracks. With it was it enough?
It probably was enough. I think you said that was
Enough.
that was like, yeah,
Yes.
that was like your new
Yes.
anthem for in the morning.
Yes, it spoke to my spirit. It really did. I was like, okay, I can rock with this. So yes, you keep letting your light shine. So speaking about the role of poetry in writing, we know that it has served as a healing tool and empowerment for you. But can you share any particular piece that holds a significant meaning to you? Um, Specifically with the Unveiled project, because we know
The
your first project stemmed from, um, you just gave us a snippet of the first project, but the Unveiled project is what I'm interested in right now. So give us a snippet of
so
how that came about.
with the unveil the pieces of a broken mask, that was like, all
Mhm.
right, so the first book I told you had a mask on, right?
Mhm.
I was a sociology major, so we going back to my BA here. you know
Uh-huh.
I've now told you that you sitting in some mess. So now with the sociology, the study of people, now we got to help you embrace that mess that you are in, and that you got to learn to love and embrace who you are. So with
Mhm.
them Unveil the Broken Pieces, with that was going through my process of healing. So now it's time for me to help others heal too, so they can embrace these pieces and take the layers off of, the baggage of, trust issues, frustration,
Mhm.
anger, depression, hurt. All these
Yeah.
things we tend to carry to these other stages because we don't tend to shut them off. So with that Unveil the Broken Pieces, in there with those poems, it's about embracing who you are, loving through you are, forgiveness, being true to yourself. Truth be told, just showing up for you and being able to work through these pieces, because when you start shedding the baggage and the weight that we carry, you lighten your load. But at the same token, sometimes we don't know how to embrace that either after we're taking off these pieces, because we've been carrying that heavy load for so long. We don't know how to be comfortable in that skin because it's new.
Absolutely.
So with Unveil the Broken Pieces, in there is poetry, but I've also give you questions and answers for you to work on through as you read my poems. I also give you a spot in the back to write in a journal, because some people need to write it out after they go through some things. You
Hmm.
know.
Journaling definitely helps me, because when I tell you I was a mess,
Right.
um, and when I started to own it,
Mhm.
when I actually took the mask off and I looked in the mirror, the man in the mirror, what did
Mhm.
they say? I'm looking
In that.
for the man in the mirror.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
woo, was I a mess? But when I started to peel back the layers, um, I'm enjoying the journey of discovering this beautiful butterfly
Mhm.
that's underneath. And I still got a lot of more layers to go, of course. But
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying the journey. I really am. I'm learning things about myself I never even imagined. One particular is this what
This
we're
right here.
doing now.
Wow.
Yes, you couldn't get me to speak on camera about nothing. You
Listen,
can get me.
I think that listen, what's crazy is with that, mind you, when I used to be in high school,
Mhm.
I wasn't talking. I didn't want to speak in front of nobody.
No.
No. So I'm with
Yeah.
you with that journey transformation. It
Yeah.
brings out some other things because could me back then, me on a camera, for what? But it's like as you go into loving the skin you when you get comfortable,
Mhm.
it's like, nah, let's talk about it. Come on, let's get on
Let's talk
camera. Let's
about
have that
it.
conversation.
Yes, let's talk about it. And speaking of that, it was like that's where my journey began. Just going through the transformation, going through the journey I went through with grief. Um, and out of all of that, I still have my days, but I have more better days.
Gotta
And
say, better days are coming.
yes, I have more better days, and I'm so, so grateful. So every morning I wake up and I'm just happy now. I remember a point in time where I woke up and I would ask God, like, God, you still got me here? Why?
Right.
Like I would wake up like another day.
Right.
Why? You know? But now that I can wake up and the minute my eyes before my eyes open, I'm just like, thank you. Just thank you. Like excited to wake up, excited to see what the day may bring. And I will tell anybody, when I start to live in my present moment and stop focusing on the past and stop putting too much into the future, when I start to focus on the present moment,
Mhm.
life became so much easier for me.
Yeah, we
So
have
much
to
easier.
live in the here and now,
Yes.
and when we're so focused on, how
Good
you said,
evening, Michelle.
the past, what was behind us, or we're focused on, oh my God, what am I gonna do in the next, you know what I'm saying? It's good to put goals on, but we have to still focus on the here and now because you have to be present. You have to literally enjoy what's going on. And being, I've learned to embrace that during the, that book of unveiling, because
Mm-hmm.
when you take off those baggages of trust issues or insecurities, and you
Hmm.
know the anxiety that you dealt with trauma or whatever it may be, or or whatever life had made thrown at you those years back, you have to remember it's time to bury that person, forgive
Oh,
that
yeah.
person, and start a new chapter and say, "Hi, this is me."
Yeah.
Like I have a picture and I call it the glow up after the grow up,
Ooh,
because
I love that.
after I grew through my stages, I did that photo shoot, and that was, hi, I'm here and I'm embracing what I've been through. I have
Yeah.
now showed up, and now I'm glowing up through that grow up.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's a word within itself. The glow up after the grow up.
Grow up. Yeah, because
Yes.
back then our mindset was one way.
Uh-huh.
While we was in that trauma or whatever we was dealing with, that was a different mindset you was in. So
Oh,
as you
yeah.
heal through your journey, your mindset changed. So now you have growth to a totally different person.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
that's just like the last part of the book. The other book that comes after that's a whole nother growth.
Yes, absolutely. And people, we talk about healing and transformation a lot, but it's easier said
Yeah.
than done.
Oh
It
Lord, yeah.
requires discipline. It requires focus. And it just requires you to say, look, I have had enough of living the life that I've lived. And for you to dedicate yourself to a better version of yourself, because it is so easy to say, oh yeah, transform yourself. Oh yes, change your mindset, but
Mhm.
it requires work.
It does. And you will
It
get tested in the midst
requires
of it.
Oh, yes, those obstacles don't stop, but how you handle them
Be the difference.
Bees. Actually, it is definitely the difference. And it's not, every day is not a good day, but I like to be transparent with that because I used to see everybody posting all of these quotes and memes about transforming life, and I'll see everyone getting up in there, they're giving you all the glory and the butterflies about it. But no, baby, you ain't tell me that I was gonna be pulling my hair out in the midst of this trying to figure out who am I, because you literally are stripped of everything you know.
Yeah, and you gonna
You
have
know,
some
you're
days.
stripped
You
of
gonna have
every
some days you crying. You gonna have some days you get moved and
man.
you don't know why. Listen,
Yes,
you gonna have
but
some
it is
talks to
worth
yourself in the book while you
it.
journaling. You gonna have some conversations.
That pen and paper became my best friend because, baby, some of them thoughts, if I would have released them to the atmosphere or to the
Right.
people, they probably would have been trying to commit me.
Right, but it's true. It's true. You know,
Yes,
you go through a whole mental, physical, and spiritual change through the journey.
yes, you
It's
do.
like it's
Yes.
a whole body change, and you become totally new. And yeah, it will be some people that will test you. It will be some moments, some situations that will test you. Life tests you because life be life.
Mm, tell me about it.
Because when you think this is how it's gonna go, and then you be like, wait a minute, hold on, where this come from?
Hmm. And
So,
not only will life test you, your loved ones will test you, your children will test you. When I
oh
tell you
Lord,
the test will
listen,
come in
listen,
every
listen.
direction, man, it will come in every direction. But
Yeah,
I will say, the beauty that comes from the ashes
right.
is worth it all.
The eagle that
It's
soars out
worth
of
it.
it.
Yes, it's worth it all. So let's get into this advocacy. What drives your passion with raising awareness about chronic illness and domestic violence? Because we know it's your story, but a lot of people sit on their stories. But
Right.
you chose to be a voice for the people. So, how do you approach your advocacy work? What is your driving force behind it?
Well, first of all, my first driving force is the fact is that there's people that are not here today that can't speak about it. So, to walk back in my house after my traumatic trauma and to
Mhm.
find the box cutter on the other side of the bed under the mattress when you clean it, knowing that your life really was about to be gone
Wow.
because you don't know how long that box cutter was sitting there. And it wasn't one box cutter, it was two. Right. So
Wow.
you know how mind blowing that is going back in your house and you're moving the mattress and you're cleaning up and because like the person came in my house and they literally tore stuff up and I had like it was a whole dramatic scene to it. But going back in the presence of my house and moving the mattress and there's not one but two box cutters that where they laid at y'all was in the same bed knowing that they could have turned over one night and just kill you and you be in your sleep like gone. That right there was enough for me. Says something has to change for the people that are not speaking and that are suffering because during my midst of the time going through it, I didn't say anything to anybody. So I could have gotten killed and nobody would never know why, who, went, when. So I have to be that voice for the people that are afraid to speak. I have to be that voice for the children that might see something because they deal with it too. I have to be that voice for the mother that might have a child that not here anymore. My story is attached to so many people and it needed to be spoken. And if I sat on it, who am I helping? Why am
Mm-hmm.
I, what I'm saying? You know, there's laws that need to be changed and I need to speak out about it. They like I remember going through the midst of this and like some of my advocacies come from my own experience. Like I remember having a order of protection and going to the cops about a situation. They tell me to go change my number. You playing with my life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the order protection is a full order that there's no contact, no text, no message, no
Mm-hmm.
come by. And if somebody's stalking me and I'm telling you what's happening, and I'm telling you I'm still getting phone calls. Why is that okay?
And that's another reason why a lot of people do decide to suffer in silence,
Right, because
because
they don't feel
um,
nothing's
they don't
changing.
feel exactly, they don't feel that they have the necessary resources that will actually help them and save their lives. Um,
Correct.
it's I wrote about it in my memoir. Um, After getting out of the situation, that person stalked me as well, but luckily I had a community,
Mhm.
my neighborhood, who surrounded me, and they will call me and tell me, "Hey, don't come outside.
Right.
Hey, this person has been lurking," or "Hey, you got to work tomorrow. I'll be up to walk you to your car." See,
Right.
I was blessed, and a lot of people don't have that.
Exactly.
And so they choose to suffer in
Live in
silence because
silence.
they like, if I get out and this person finds me, they're going
Then
to.
what?
Exactly.
And see, another reason I advocate after going through the program I went through, you know, I seen some women, they were so angry. They were still suffering. And I didn't
Mhm.
want that mental suffering. I didn't want to be angry because then I mean I'll be bleeding and pouring onto my kids or whoever's around me. I didn't want to be that person because I was mad going through this whole situation because it's like my whole life had to change because of somebody else's undisciplined,
Mhm.
somebody else's issues because it wasn't mine. But I
And
had
let's
to
be
accept my part that I did play in it by dealing with them.
And that's where I wanted to go with putting a pin in it, because women, we often get into these relationships and we devote our whole selves
Mhm.
100%. And in the midst of devoting ourselves to these relationships, we lose ourselves.
Right.
And so we get involved in these entanglements that are not even destined for us.
Right.
And when we come out of it, we have nothing left but the bare bones to start over with. And that does cause anger. That
Mhm.
causes resentment. That causes bitterness. Um, for me, I started to become the aggressor
Right.
because I felt I went through it with my father. Then I
Mhm.
went through it in a relationship.
Right. It's a
I
lot.
felt no other man was putting his hand on me. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna get you before you get me.
Get me.
And that was my mentality
Mhm.
behind it, but it wasn't right.
Right.
And it took for me to go back to that man in the mirror, you know, to realize this can't be it, because they were wrong, but you're
Mhm.
also wrong,
Oh, right.
you know. So I had to go back and I had to work on that. But I'm grateful that I am self-aware enough and honest with myself enough to admit my flaws, you know.
Mhm.
And you
Absolutely.
are too, sis.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
had to, I had to take the my part of my accountability of I allowed it or I stayed with this person or I was with this person or I got into a relationship and that was my accountable part of it. But I then forgave myself through this journey for allowing it. And now it's like, okay, I allowed it, I accepted it. Now what am I going to do next? And what are
Yeah.
going to be the boundaries of what I'm not going to tolerate, what I'm not going to accept, and who and what and how you going to speak to me, deal with me, or handle me. I'm going to teach you how to love me. And if you can't love me that way, then don't touch
Absolutely.
me. That's it.
Absolutely. So I see that you also have done some children books.
I did. I
You
did. I
have. You've done children books as well. So can you tell us more about the children's books and what inspires you to write children books, and what messages do you convey to your young readers?
absolutely. So my first book is called The Power in Me, which is the children's book that I did with my daughter.
Mhm.
And I made them the co-authors and the characters. That book came right after COVID. And what's crazy is I actually was diagnosed with COVID and it was scary going through that. And to after surviving it, and I'm like, I went to my girls and I'm like, hey, do y'all want to write a book, a children's book? Because I've wrote four already. So I'm like, why not get the kids involved?
Yeah.
And we wrote the book, and the power of me is based on basically teaching kids to embrace who they are, and that the power is within them, that they can be anything that they want to be. It's just they have to do the work. They can be the president of the United States, they can be a lawyer, a doctor, doesn't matter where they come from, how they lived, or etc. But if they put the work in and they dig deep and know that the power is within them, they can be anything that they want to be in life. And
Yeah.
I go to the schools and I literally do story time with them, and I actually have this message, and I talk about them creating their own business and becoming self-made, and to have a plan and to know where they want to go and how they want to create these steps, and to plant the seed for our future leaders, because so many times they might not have nobody empowering them or pouring into them. So why not me be that person to give them that inspiration, to know that, hey, your words have power and your voice have power. You just got to use it.
Yes. So my children are older now. I have young adults. I have ladies. And of course, I've been throwing hints about them writing a book with me. They ain't biting yet, so it's okay. But I do want to write a children's book with my niece. My
Nice.
brother, one of my brothers who's deceased, his youngest daughter. When I wrote my first book, she was so elated. She was like, "My
Mhm.
TT wrote a book," and she was like my spokesperson. But I do want her to know that she has a voice. I want her to know that she's special, and so I'm getting her this summer. So that is a goal that I want to accomplish with her while I have her, for us to sit down and write her book.
That
So
is amazing. That's
yeah,
kind of like my second book is actually, it's come and learn your A's to Z with me. And with
okay.
that one is more for like the younger kids growing into,
Mhm.
coming along to learn the A's and Z shucks. It is shucks. It's crazy because my kids are 12 and 13 and they want to write and trace the letters now. So it honestly, grown-ups can use it if you want to, if
Yeah,
you want to sit in. But it's basically like it's A for apple, but it's A for amazing. It's like B for bat, but B for bravo. So I am
yeah.
impacting the affirmations early, to whereas they're tracing that letter ant, but they tracing them letters for amazing too. And that way they're learning that they are bold, they're fierce, they're lovable and honest now, so that they don't have those doubts later. I want to pour all that jewels and gems into them, so that they
Yeah.
have that impact to say, hey, I'm me. Because some of us didn't have that when we were younger, like the normal regular books, and I just wanted to do something different, because there might be kids that are not getting that at home or getting that anywhere else. So with my books, you get nothing but affirmations and empowerment. So that's why I call myself the empowerer and the inspirator.
Absolutely. And so that's why I actually wanted to go on the journey of the empowerment and affirmations with her, particularly because for me growing up, I didn't have um, empowerment and affirmations in my household. It was, you know, life was life in the end.
Mine
But
was church.
now, Granny
Take it
kept
to the
me in
Lord.
church, but I had to go through some childhood traumas as well.
Right.
And but Granny kept me in church. Um, but I was always a reader. I love to read, and I threw myself into books like Babysitter Club and
Hmm. I
things of
remember
that.
those chicken
Yes,
soup.
And Sweet Valley High and all those.
Hmm.
But even though I threw myself into those books, they were not relatable.
Right.
And what they did was distorted me from living in my true authentic self and actually
Hmm.
living into a fairy tale, if that
Right.
makes sense. Living into
It
a
does.
life that I could never
Have or
have.
be. Right. It's not
Exactly.
our real life.
Exactly. And so that's where I'm going with the book with her, because I feel like our children need to have something that they can relate to, that they
Absolutely.
can be relatable to, because um it's a lot when you grow up in distortion. I
Mhm.
lived through those books. That was my way of escaping my reality,
Right.
but it distorted me in the process.
Right.
So it wasn't good.
Right.
Right. So
So you had to undistort yourself to become who you are now.
exactly
So
to
I
become who
yeah.
I am now.
Right.
Exactly. And so I think it is imperative that we start to reach our children now.
Mhm.
Um, Social media, YouTube, you name it, all of it has a hold on them now because we didn't have the technology. We had
No, we
books,
did not. No.
you know,
No.
but I think if we start them early, very
Mhm.
early, like I love the affirmation book. Because that's something that you can truly start them at 2, 3, 4 years old with
Mhm.
it,
Right.
and at that age they are a sponge. So they're
Mhm.
soaking it up and it's a lasting, you know, um grip on them. So
Right.
great idea. Great idea. And I commend you and I applaud you for just thinking outside of the box and not just thinking about people who can relate to you now, but thinking about the generations to come after us, you know?
Absolutely. It's important because there's I might not be here forever, but that book could be here and it'll be able
Yeah,
to inspire how many ever kids that might need it. So absolutely.
absolutely. So yes, I can't wait till Lele get here so we can tell her story and write her story and put it together. I'm excited to do
I'm
this project.
excited when that comes out. I can't wait.
Yes, I'm very excited to do this project with her. So we know you have some upcoming projects because you just don't stop working. You just keep going and going and going. So, what do you have coming up? Do you have any new poetry albums coming up? I know you just released the spoken word songs. Like I said, I love Enough. That's my jam right there. Um,
Listen.
but I know you have the turning your pain into purpose project coming up. Um,
Absolutely.
and so give us a sneak peek into those and whatever else you got coming up, girl.
Well, June magazine is in full effect getting put together now. So,
Oh,
I do my Unmasking Motivation magazine that comes out every month that you can either get in print or digital. Um, there is a new children's book that's coming that I am working on. I'm working on another children's book. That one I'm looking to focus on peer pressure and bullying because that's
okay.
huge. So
Yes.
that's what I'm looking to focus on as well. And then with hashtag turn my pain into purpose, like this project is about to be phenomenal. I am so excited for the authors that have committed to the project and that is going to share their inspiring stories and journeys in it, and it's not going to be just a book, it's going to be a movement. So I'm excited. The potential release date for that is October. So right now we are in the process of getting things all together behind the scenes. And yes,
Okay.
the book cover is dropping soon. So stay tuned, stay tuned. Check out the page. The book
Yes.
cover might drop tomorrow. You never know. Just saying.
Okay.
But stay tuned and look out for that book cover.
Yes, indeed. So w- you have numerous of awards and recognitions. You receive numerous of accolades.
Yes,
How
and
do
I don't
these
even have them all in there. That's the mild version of what I have.
Wow. So how does these recognitions influence your work and your motivation to just keep going?
To be honest, the awards, I love them because as you can see, they over here in the corner. I love
Mhm.
them, but that's not what keeps my drive. The awards I get is when I get that email from somebody that I might have went to the shelter and spoke words into their lives and empowered them through something, or did a workshop that empowered them to become a better potential or a better version of themselves. Getting that email, like I remember sitting at my house about 3 years ago, and after being on the news out here, my email was blowing up. They was like, "Oh my God, I saw you on the news. I read your book. It's so amazing. Your book gave me so much inspiration." just to get emails like that. Or I remember going to the shelter and this lady was like, she introduced me. She was like, "Yeah, I know her. I've known her from another program, and she helped me get my life back in order. She gave me the courage to go back and get my own apartment all over again." And just to hear those things, that's my reward.
Fulfillment.
You know,
Yes.
to be able to get an email like, I remember getting an inbox from somebody and it was like, "I know you don't know me. I've been on your page for a while. I watch your podcasts. I don't say anything, but I've been watching it and you helped me mend my brokenness back to healing." And that's what my impact is about, between my
Yeah.
podcast, my magazine, my advocacy, and me just showing up. And that goes back to my meme that I say, dope, dedicated to other people empowerment or heal, helping to empowering amazing lives. My journey and my purpose is to help people become the better pretension of who they are. Like, the awards, I love them because it's great to see. But to
Mm-hmm.
get that letter or that email or that memo to say, "I've changed your life," my goal is to change one person's soul at a time. I am
Yeah.
here to empower and impact them to be whoever the best version of them is. It's not who I see you as. Whatever the best version of you is for you, that's all I can ask for. Because you
Yes.
have to meet people at their level. You can see a potential, but they have to see it. So when
Mhm.
they see their potential to be at a certain aspect, all you can do is walk with them through that journey to where they see their potential as. You continue to pour so that they can see that there is a light on the other side of that journey. I go do these workshops, and when I come out of them, they tell me, like, "Oh my God, this is something I've been holding on for 35 years." Being able to pull this out of people and to have that type of energy and purpose, all I can say is just grace and mercy to be able to do that. So that is my reward, to be able to impact,
Yes.
empower, and to educate and inspire.
Yes, I love it. The impact. That is it. That's the fulfillment for me, the impact. Though like you say, the wars will come,
Hmm.
the accolades will come. And we appreciate those as well. I
Yeah,
know I
absolutely.
do. Um, but just to get that one person to come to tell you, how you have impacted their lives, that is bigger than an award to me. That's
Yeah.
like, it makes me feel like, yeah, you're on the right path. Continue to do
Hmm.
exactly what you're doing. So
Hmm.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And our time is winding down, but we got a few more moments, so we're gonna get in a few more questions. Look, if we go over tonight, it's okay because this conversation was good. So I want to know from you though, who are some of the most influential figures in your life, and how have they inspired your journey?
Well, you know, I can definitely say, if we go to my younger version of who inspired me, we'll start with my great grandma who passed away and my mother. Like, those are my inspirations of who guided me, who molded me, and who showed me how to be the best version of myself. You
Yes.
know, as I continue through the journey, I have different people, and it's too many to name.
Hmm.
But I've had people that dropped in as mentors. I have friends that have supported me through my journey because, you know, like I tell people, as you walk this journey, you will have different sets of transitional uh tribes,
Hmm.
and not everybody's going to go with you on every journey, because this 5 years I've been here, I've had different sets at different times. And
Hmm.
I just love my friends that are there. And I have a set, and I call it the hashtag we are called the power of the pack. And my power of the pack tribe, I love them dearly because they support me from head to toe. If I'm sick, if I need empowerment, if I need to be poured in, that's what they do. I have a set of mentors that support me through each thing and each journey that tends to do. I have coaches that guide me, and I have, therapists, because every therapist need a therapist.
Yes,
So, but
absolutely.
you know, my other and I'll say my kids, they empower me all the time because I guarantee you, like, when I need that empowerment, I remember, like, my daughter came to me one day and she was like, "Mom, I'm proud of you." I'm like, Thank you. She was like, no, I'm really proud of you. She said, because you take your journey and you take it and pour it into other people. She said, it's not that you just sit and you do it for other reasons. You do it because you love it and you do it to empower people. And I'm proud of you. And
Yeah.
she's like, I want you to know you're my hero. And most kids, they look up to the stars, but to have your daughter tell you that you're the hero, that's my impact right there. To have one of my daughters say, "Hey, I want to be a writer like you." That's impactful for me right there. So
Mhm.
I look up to them because they look up to me. So we look up to each other.
Absolutely. I haven't got one to say that they wanna be a writer as of yet.
As of yet.
But I do get the randoms, "Mom, I'm so proud of you,"
Hmm.
"Mama, your strength gives me strength to go
Hmm.
on," and,
Right.
um my daughter, she, my especially my oldest daughter, she'll just send me random texts like, "Mom, I'm so proud of you," and this, and that. And even my baby girl, she's the quiet one, but every once in a while, she'll sneak up to me and give me a kiss and be like, "I love you. I'm so proud of you." So just to know that I'm not just speaking things into them, but actually modeling it and they're seeing it and changing their lives and wanting to be a better version of themselves because they're seeing what mama models.
Hmm.
That alone is like, man, I can't even put words to describe it. I can't.
Priceless.
Yes,
Speechless, priceless, no
yes,
words.
absolutely. So what are your future aspirations? How do you envision continuing your journey of empowerment and advocacy throughout the future?
To be honest, I'm gonna continue to be the voice of reckoning, be that voice for the people to speak for them, and I will always let people know. You might not have nobody that tells you that they're proud of you or that they're rooting for you. I'll be that one yelling in the crowd. I'll be that
Mhm.
one to tell you got this, and I'll be the one to tell you keep on going.
Absolutely. I love it. Oh, so do you have a message for your listeners tonight? Because before we get out of here, I got something I want you to do.
I always have a message for the viewers. As always, from the lady behind the mask, from Sheena Gadine, I want you to know that you are worthy, you are enough, and that you are deserving of everything that was meant for you and you was brought here with a purpose.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so
Oh,
much, Patricia. Yes, thank you. And girl, I really enjoyed this conversation. It's wrapping up a little too fast for me tonight.
I mean,
You
we
know,
always could do a part two. I'm always open for another interview. Just let
yes.
me
So
know
we gotta,
when.
yes, we definitely gonna have to bring you back after turning my pain to purpose and this new children's book come out. And yeah, we're gonna have to definitely bring you back. But before you go, I would love for you to just take a moment and give your flowers to someone who is still in the land of the living because all too common we wait until people are in the dirt um or has transitioned to the spiritual realm to give them their flowers. So I like to take an opportunity at the end of each show to allow my guests to just pick whoever they want and give them their flowers while they're still here to receive them.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna
It,
let
it's
you
it's
do
it's
that.
crazy because it's honestly three people that I would give my flowers to, and that'll be hashtag to the power of the pack.
Well, I'm gonna let you go for it.
To the power of the pack, I want y'all to know that I appreciate every time that y'all are there to support, that y'all always there to encourage me, and that y'all are always there to pour into me when I can't pour into myself. To the power of the pack, y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know we always here to remember that it's always collaboration over competition and that y'all are my tribe and y'all are always here and I'm here to support y'all and I thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It has been such a beautiful night just getting to talk to you. And I'm gonna let the people know how they can contact you. So give me that contact information. You can actually just go ahead and tell them now how they can contact you.
Absolutely. Well, you can always find me on Facebook as Sheena Grind, or you can find me on IG at, or shall I say Instagram if people didn't know what IG is. Because some people be like, IG was IG. So I have to remember. But Instagram, it is Lady Behind the Mask 22. On TikTok is Sheena Goodine Author, is Sheena Author 22. If you want to reach out to me on my website, is www.sheenaunmaskingmotivation.com. And my email is Goodine, which is GOURDINE16 My inbox, my email are always open.
Awesome, amazing. So yes, I am one of those people that used to be like, "What is IG?" I'm look, I've
That's
been
why I
on
said, hold on, let me rephrase it.
I've been on Facebook forever, but I'm now starting to tap into Instagram. We actually got Instagram going live now.
Nice,
Um,
nice, nice.
yes, and so I'm actually tapping into the IG world, and I'm actually enjoying it. TikTok is my friend. I have learned and love TikTok. Shout out to the TikTok makers, and the day that I found that I was trying to take it away, I was advocating. I was posting a number like, call this number, because I think that is a platform that they can take anything else. Don't take TikTok.
I
But
definitely hear you.
I'm so happy that we were able to sit down tonight and just have a discussion. And I enjoy speaking with you. I look forward to seeing your work, you know, throughout the next few months and years, because we connected now, girl. You ain't getting rid of
Yes.
me. And I just
We
love connecting.
family now.
Well, we family now,
We
girl.
family
So
now, girl.
yes. So I gotta add you to the list when I come back to the East Coast. You go get a call like, I'm here, girl. So
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Don't be talking about my accent, girl.
Oh
But
nah,
yes,
listen.
but yes, it has been a beautiful night, and thank you so much for just taking the time out your schedule and just sitting down and discussing with me and giving the people a glimpse into your story, because I love the fact that I can utilize this platform for transparency, to let them know, hey, just because you've been where you've been doesn't mean you can't go where you want to go. You know,
Absolutely.
um, every day that we wake up, that's a reset. Every day that we wake up, we have a brand new day for a fresh start. And it's time for us to start taking those. The past is the past. We can't go back and change it. So we don't have to continue to dwell on it. Learn from it and move forward. So this has been another episode of Let's Talk Grieve. I thank you so much for being with me today, Shayna. And to the people, thank you all for tuning in. We love you, and we will see you on next week. Let's Talk Grieve.